Hey guys, welcome to Code Decode. In this video, we are going to look into the ways how we use DTOs, entities, and POJOs in our current Spring Boot application or Spring application, and we are really doing it right. So let's get started and see what really most of us do. Now here, let's understand with a diagram. Suppose this is our architecture. There is a client or the front-end application made either in the Angular or React.js or anything. And this is whole as the backend, where we have a controller layer, we have a service layer, we have a repository layer, and then we have the database. Now, in between these three layers are these DTOs, entities, and POJOs do fit. Now, suppose we get a request from the client. The handler for the request is user controller, because it is the one who handles all the requests and response from the client. Then we have the service which has the business logic. Then we have the repository, which is actually mapped directly to the physical database with some ORM tools like Hibernate or JPA. And then we get the request or the response from the database. We give it to service, we give it to a user controller. And from the controller, we give response back to the client. So that was the basic MVC flow. Nothing hi-fi, nothing extra. Now, what we do as the wrong thing. Here, if we create the entity table for the database. If you can see here, this is the user entity table, which directly maps the user repository to the database. So on this user entity, what you do? I'll show you here what we do with the user entity. We mark this user entity as @table with users, and this is the table name. And we directly map ID, name, email, and password. These are the exact name of the columns of this table. So you have made the entity which directly maps to a table, physical table users in the database. Now coming to our flow, when we get the request, what first mistake that most of us do is, since we are at the backend, we see, okay, this is a user entity. I have to store this user information, their name, ID, password, role, their address into the table. And I have to return the same name, address to the front end. So we make this user entity as common between database and client. So good so far, nothing wrong till now. So this is the first wrong thing that we do, that we create an entity. We use the same entity for the controller layer also to give response back to the client for when the client asks for the user details. And then we don't use anything called as DTOs. Even we call that as POJOs. We don't even know the difference between difference between POJO and DTO. Now one very fine day, a requirement comes for the backend that change the name to username. What will happen? You have to ask your front-end developer, oh, I'm so sorry, my entity is changed. It is no more the name, it is rather the username for better readability at the backend. The front-end guy stiff his hand and says, okay, fine, I'll do this change. Going forward, you change, no. The password has to change to be the hashed password. Then again, the front-end guy has to change the mapping because it is directly connected to your table column name. That is why he has to do so much of change. So since your backend or the table column changes, your front end also changes, and such a high coupling you have done here. Very bad programming practice. Suddenly there is a second issue coming up with this particular architecture where you have not introduced any POJO or DTO in between. That you have something called as role for the backend security management. Does the client really need to know what role is it? You go to Amazon and you see that you are just a user, you are not an admin. Is this a really important information, like what role you have in their particular database or their Amazon backend? You don't need to know about it. So many, or even when you just map it to entity, an entity has a hashed password. Otherwise, if there is no password they have, how will they map the key username and password and see whether you are validated user or not? In such situation, you end up revealing your hashing technique to the client because it knows that this is your password. Now, in the response it gets, this is the hashed password. Now, with the password and the hash password, it will easily get to know what is your encryption technology. Is this really good enough to share your internal backend information to front end? Answer is no. So, when you use such kind of architecture where there is no user DTO or POJO, this is the POJO here. I'll tell you the difference between user DTO and POJO very soon. And there's a lot of difference. Do not consider DTO as POJO. Never do that. Or POJO as DTO. So with this architecture, when you don't add any layer between your controller layer and the service layer and the repository layer, then you are in trouble. You will end up doing a lot of bad things. So let's first understand what is POJO. POJO is a simple plain Java object. It is just a simple object with fields and getter setter, no business rule, no framework, no annotations. Here, for example, a card summary, which I'm going to tell you in a minute, will become a POJO for us. It will not be connected to any database. It will not be connected to any client. What is entity? Entity is a POJO with a ORM annotation for persistence. An entity is something which is closely related to the database. And a DTO is just a POJO only for data transfer between APIs and layers. It does not have to connect with any database. It just have to take data from one place to another. That's all. That is data transfer object. So let's a quick difference between them. POJO is a plain Java object, while entity is mapped to database. POJO is only for data transfer object. This is a generic logic is given in POJO, while the entity represents the exact table, while the DTO represents the exact request and response coming from the client to you, and you giving the response to them. So this is a proper reason why entity, that is, it is a complete replication of table for you, while DTO is a complete replication of request and response coming in and out of your system. This is just a generic one. It has to do nothing with either the database nor with the client. Usually, we don't put any annotations on POJOs. In entities, we have entity, table in case of Hibernate and JPA. While in the case of DTO, sometimes we have JSON ignore because it is used for mapping between the entities and the client request and response. Coupling, it is completely independent, while entities very tightly coupled to database schema, while the DTOs are tightly coupled with the contracts with your client, request and response. POJOs can be used anywhere, while entities are only and only used for repository layer, while DTOs are used only and only for the API layers, that is controller and service, neither in the repository nor anywhere else. Now I'll tell you a very stark difference between the entities, POJOs, where to use what. I'm pretty sure you will ask me, why DTOs, why not POJOs? So let's understand this, okay? Suppose you have a user in your application. Now the table becomes users. Your API becomes /API/users. There is an internal business logic that this user is going to come to your application, create a cart, and that cart has multiple products, and that has total amount of all the products calculated together, which you might need to analyze that, oh, this user has this much big cart information. Now let's see where to use DTOs, where to use POJOs, and where to use entities. So we know that users is going to be the database table. So I'm going to use user entity to directly connect to the users table, and that is where entity is used to directly couple with your table, significantly physical table. So use only and only in the repository and service layer to interact with the database, nowhere else. You do not have to return this into your controller because it will leak your informations like the role and the hashed password to the UI or the client, which is not good. Also, if you do that, any change to your entity will break your front-end application, and your front-end application will just completely breaking his head. Whenever you change any column in your table, he has to change his contract, which is not a good thing to do in an enterprise level application.
Hey guys, recently we have launched a course covering an end-to-end full stack application using Angular as front-end and microservices and Spring Boot as the back-end. Also, we have used Cloud to deploy this application, and we have used CI/CD, that is Jenkins and Argo CD, for continuous integration and continuous deployment. The technologies that we have used is REST-RESTful web services, Spring Boot and microservices for backend, Angular for frontend. GitHub we have used for version control system. Also, to make the code unit testable, we have used JUnits. We have used Sonar for code quality checks. Also, for containerization, we have used Docker and Kubernetes. And to deploy this whole application, we have used AWS and multiple services from AWS. Also, we have used SQL as well as NoSQL, that is MongoDB and SQL. On AWS, since for the SQL we have RDS, we have used those services, and Jenkins and Argo CD for CI/CD pipeline. Also, this is an architecture of the application that we have created where the front end is Angular and the back end is microservices. We have used ALB load balancers, Ingress for routing and load balancing. And we have used SQL and MongoDB for SQL and NoSQL DB management with Eureka Server and all those microservices counterparts. Now, this is the CI/CD pipeline. This is the CI/CD flowchart for the application that we have created on local. So this is something, a flow when you create an application in local, push it to GitHub, create a Jenkins pipeline, and do the CI/CD using Jenkins and Argo CD. and at the end deploy the whole code at AWS EKS. Complete description of this course is covered in a very separate video. The link for that video is also given in the description bar below, and also the link to purchase that course from Udemy is also in the description bar below. So please go and check the description for all these links.
Now second comes DTO. It is only and only for the API layers. That is, in the controller layer, you should use the DTOs. So here, whenever you get the request from the client, the user DTO takes it in user DTO object. It gives it to user service. User service converts it into user entity, and user entity is then used by the repository layer to store as it is in the database. And what is the reverse? Whenever it gets the response from the database, user repository get it into the POJO called as, or deserialize into the object called as user entity. It then gives to user service, and the same is converted into first DTO, then to the user controller to the client. So remember, this is very important. User DTO is used as a layer between client and you. So any data coming to your application or given as a response to the client, it becomes the DTO, and hence to be named properly as user DTO and user entity. Remember, whenever you create any object, just make sure either you make the package name as entity and DTO, or if not, just if you have just one package called as user layer, then make sure that your class name is suffixed with DTO and entities properly. Now you will come ask me, why POJO? Why should I use POJO? If you have controller layer has this DTOs, your repository layer has entities, why the hell do we have this POJO? You do have POJO for the business layer. Now suppose, for example, there is a cart. A user has created a cart. Now that cart has total items, total prices, and multiple things which you need for internal calculations. For example, for each user, calculate the cart summary. That cart summary, I do not need to store it in database, or I do not want to give it as a response to any client. But I want to use this for my data science to give them the way to analyze that this user is a price intensive user. It creates a big cart. It is very important client to us. You give him personalized coupons. That this person gives a total price of cart of 1 lakh rupees since 1 month for 1 month of Amazon. Then Amazon will give them personalized coupons so that he keeps on shopping more. So such kind of logics who does not have to be stored in database or who does not have to be given to the client, but still they are very important for business logic calculations, you create the POJOs. And remember, do not suffix it with either DTOs or entities, because this is neither DTO nor entity. So when do you use it? When you don't have to tie it to database nor to the client or the APIs, then it is just a helper object to give it to data science for your data analysis. So putting all together, there's a user controller who has user service auto wired. It gets the ID, then it searches into the database or through the service that for this ID, what is the user entity. Now, if this user entity is then mapped using map strut or something, converted into DTO and return the DTO rather than returning the user entity. This is only one way. Even I would not suggest this is not also the perfect way, because this conversion could have been done in the service layer also, or in a separate utility class also, where you have all the mappings done from entity to DTO, DTO to entity. And this is where your map strut will convert your user mapper to user DTO and return it to it like this. So use entity only for persistence, use DTO only for the consumer's API request and response, use POJO everywhere else. And your real flow will look similar to what I have shown you here. The client gives a request to controller converts it to DTO, it gives it to service layer, service converts it into entity, gives it to the repository and save this entity as it is into the database. Then from the database, repository gets the data, it into and deserialize into entity. This entity is given to service layer who converts it into DTO, gives it to controller and gives it back to the client. So in mini analogy, entity is just the raw database table. DTO is just a parcel you send to the consumer with only things what is needed. For example, your entity has username, password, role, and address, while DTO should only contain the first and the fourth one, that is the name and the address. The password and role has nothing to do with your client on the front end. Do not send it in DTO. While POJO is just a box you use for internal organization of things. For example, how much sale you have done for this consumer for this particular month. For that, you can use the POJOs. What mistakes we do? We consider POJOs and DTOs are same. Many of the people come to me and say that we use POJOs for conversion from entity, to the response. That is not called as POJO. It is a very generic term. A DTO is a POJO, but not all POJOs are DTOs. POJO is a very generic term. You cannot use POJOs for data transfers. DTO is a very specific term for conversion of data, serialization and deserialization over the network for the clients only. So be intentional, make them clearly that this is a user DTO and is a user entity, and do not suffix any of the DTO and entity for any of your POJO in your application. The second mistake we do is we expose entities directly. While we should be, and what happens then? Then we end up giving them their role and password hashed, and then your encoding technique for backend to the client, which is not right thing to do. Plus, any change in the database column impacts directly the front end guy, and he will just bang his head on the wall saying that why every time you have to change the contract whenever you have change in the database. Keep it abstracted to yourself, give me only what I need and never change it up. And that can be done only by the framework called as DTOs. The third mistake we do is we overload one class for everything. We use one class that is entity for everything, and this makes it tight coupling. And the last important mistake we all do, we manually map your entity to DTO, DTO to hell with .set, .get. Worst thing to do, use Mapstrut. Out there in the market, there is beautiful ways who converts your DTOs to entities, entities to DTOs, and you do not have to make your application a manual mapping hell. Don't do that. So to write a clean code, keep entities private only and only for database. Use DTOs only and only for the request and response mapping. Use POJOs for all other business logics, and automate the mapping process with the Mapstrut kind of tools, which are widely available in outside market, that too free, open source. That's all on the way how you use your DTOs and entities and POJOs. In the interviews, 90% of the people do not understand where you actually use the POJOs. You end up using DTOs even for your business logic. Don't do that. DTOs are very specific to interactions with the client, entities specific to database. Everywhere else you use POJOs. So be very sure that you know what is the difference between these three.